Okay, hey guys. So now I'm here for this third part of the demo, and this time, as you can see, I'm actually, well, you can't see that, but I'm in a headset, and you can see that I'm a virtual avatar. And I've pre-prepared this space, which is being made in this application called Recroom, which isn't like a work application, at least not primarily, but I thought it gave the best sort of demo. I mean, the technology is kind of rudimentary, but this also means that there's a lot of room for progress. So you can see, I can gesture, I can, point, and so on. I've also created some of these objects. You can see that I can like paint on them if I wanted to. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it from where your angle is. And so you can customize these rooms, and they allow you to have this kind of much more, immersive experience. It's not, being face-to-face with another person, but to see them gesture and to kind of be able to wander around in a seemingly physical space, a visual physical space with them. That's something that I think, adds something to the learning experience, especially if you're going to be using particular sorts of objects to demo certain things. So I'll show you my Maker Pen in just a little bit. So what I'm going to do in this part is I'm going to, first of all, tell you a little bit about some of the uses of virtual reality in general, and also some of the particular uses that I see as us at LAU being in a particularly good position to work with and to build on and to kind of contribute to the rest of the world with the stuff that we're doing. The majority of this will be, so that'll be the kind of first part, and then the second part, I'll talk about some of the worries that virtual reality raises for all of us. I won't go into in depth into any of this. It's really more to show you me being in a virtual space and kind of talking to you with it, inside it, but in any case. So look, if you look at the news right now, just go on Google and search for virtual reality, you'll see that virtual reality has been predicted to have, applications in art, architecture, AI, business, design, education, engineering, entertainment, governance, medicine, military, philosophy, psychology, robotics, and sports. And there's really like these superb, applications for virtual reality in these domains. And, this means that for us, there should be kind of this advantage of looking at all of this stuff. So I didn't really memorize all of these. As you can see, I have them typed over here. I just thought I would show it to you. Not only are we able to do stuff in all of these domains, but I think that there's particular stuff that we in the Arab world are in a good position to do. So virtual reality is very good at documenting and enabling simulations of various sorts. So I can see easily applications that focus on Arabic calligraphy, Arabic architecture, Arabic food, Arabic poetry, historical locations in this part of the world. Here we have Baalbek. You could easily, turn that into a 3D rendering. It's really not that hard. It's time consuming, but it's not hard. You can also inform people about the ways of life over here. And of course, you can make all sorts of Arabic educational content. There's already a dearth of Arabic educational content, whether VR or otherwise. And again, I'm reading all of these from over here. I also have my notes, which are just to remind me of some things. From here, I've talked to you about like the positive part, so let me just talk about a little bit about the worries that we can have inside virtual reality. So one question, it's a big question, and the question is, look, take a given act X, and then take its virtual counterpart, virtual X. What's the value of virtual X relative to X? Is, for instance, building something in a virtual world with a virtual reality headset the same as doing it in the real world? Is it as valuable? This matters, and it's not clear, that we're going to end up with just kind of one way of answering this question. It could be that some things are as valuable and other things are not as valuable. But kind of determining this is important. I mean, just think about, lots of moral issues kind of rest on this. For instance, is a virtual theft a theft? I think many of us think that it is, these days. We think that somebody who broke into your email and, kind of looked through all of your stuff is kind of worthy of being punished in the same way that they would be if they broke into your room and just looked at all of your stuff, maybe without taking anything in both cases. I said earlier in the earlier part of this discussion that virtual reality offers us this huge bandwidth, and it's true. It does offer us a huge bandwidth of information, but the question is, what are we going to transmit through this? So, in fact, virtual reality also enables a huge amount of misinformation, manipulation through misinformation, and there's really been discussion about virtual torture because virtual reality, you can't really say I like virtual reality or I dislike virtual reality. It's a bit like saying I like reality or I dislike reality. The question is, what part of reality are you in? And similarly, what part of virtual reality are you in? And in a sense, like people say, seeing is believing. And in virtual reality, you really see up to the point of believing. At least for your visual system, it doesn't really discriminate between, going through these virtual experiences and, going through the real ones at the level of your visual system. So, if somebody were to get their hands on a child and put them in some virtual reality experiences that have lots of, harmful misinformation, this is a real threat. This is something we can be genuinely worried about. Some of the issues that virtual reality raises are also issues that would exist anyway, It's not like they're specific to virtual reality, but in a way, virtual reality exacerbates them. So one of these is this idea of an echo chamber. There's all these worries that the internet, instead of connecting us all, has made us, fit into these little bubbles where we just hang around with people who share our views and so on. Well, with virtual reality, you could literally end up sharing a world only with those people who are like you. In a way, it exacerbates these echo chambers a lot. It could also feed itself into injustice. So that's a fourth point, that literally, if we continue to have this sort of economic equality that we have today, then the rich and the poor will, in a literal sense of the word, occupy different worlds. They'll, one set will live in one virtual world, the other will live in another one. Okay, and then, one last worry, which is, I think, for me, at least given the stuff that I work on, is, that we worry about the psychological impact of virtual reality. Jumping from world to world, this is really how you experience it, is exhausting. I know this because I know that if I go into, I go on to Mount Everest, I do this experience that's only half an hour long, and then I go, and hang out in a forest. I feel like I'm mentally exhausted, even if I'm not physically exhausted. So actually, there's real worries about also psychological depersonalization. We already have these interesting illusions, like the rubber hand illusion, where a person can get confused about which one is their real hand and which one is the rubber hand. Well, virtual reality has that sort of effect as well. I've experienced it firsthand, but there's also lots of documented psychological research on it. So you don't really have to worry about littering in the virtual world, but it still bothers me a little bit. So here I pulled out my maker gun, and this is this really nice tool that I can use to create various things. So with that, I can kind of create a 3D object, but I can also use it to build other things. In fact, every object you've seen me use over here has been one that I built in some way or other. So I'll just kind of build myself a sword. You can see I have this nice sword now hanging around. Okay, well, I guess that about wraps up what I wanted to say. So goodbye, guys. I hope, we'll get to do some nice virtual reality stuff sometime soon. Cheers.